The Galactic Relic Hunters Guild had seen many species come and go in its 17,000-year history. Crystalline Gemora with their perfect memory matrices, six-armed Kelthans who could excavate sites with surgical precision, even the telepathic Mindari who could sense ancient technologies buried beneath worlds. But none of them could match Marcus Chen's track record. In just 15 years, the human had recovered 43 Class A relics, artifacts so rare that most hunters never found even one in their entire careers. The Guild's headquarters on Station Prometheus displayed his achievements in their Hall of Legends. The singing crystals of Valor Prime, the temporal compass of the architects, and the infamous Void Engine that had been impossible to locate for 3 millennia. Marcus stood before Guildmaster Silthar, a towering insectoid whose chitinous plates gleamed under the station's artificial light. The alien's mandibles clicked in what Marcus had learned to recognize as skepticism. "You wish to pursue the Eternity's whisper?" Silthar's translator rendered his clicking speech into crisp standard. 37 expeditions have searched for that ship. The best hunter teams in the galaxy. All failed. Marcus smiled, that infuriating human expression that Zilthar had come to know well. "That's why I'm going alone." "Alone?" The Guildmaster's antennae twitched. "The search grid covers 17 star systems. Even with your peculiar human stubbornness, it would take 6 months," Marcus interrupted. "I'll find it in 6 months, or I'll retire and never bother you again." Shilthar studied the human. Other species called them reckless, impulsive, illogical. But Marcus Chen had proven to be something else entirely. Where others followed probability matrices and sensor data, he followed what he called hunches. Where others calculated odds, he trusted his instincts. It was unscientific, unpredictable, and undeniably effective. "Very well," Silthar agreed. "But if you succeed, you must tell me how you do it. How you consistently find what others cannot." Marcus's smile widened. "Deal." 3 months into his search, Marcus sat in his modified scout ship, the Persistence, staring at holographic star charts that painted his cockpit in blue light. Most hunters would have been analyzing gravitational anomalies or running spectroscopic scans. Marcus was reading poetry, specifically. He was reading the translated fragments recovered from the architect ruins. The same ancient civilization that had built the Eternity's Whisper 5 million years ago. The fragments spoke of a ship that could dance between the thoughts of stars and rest where light forgets to travel. To the Jora, these were metaphorical corruptions, translation errors from a dead language. To the Kelthans, they were religious nonsense unworthy of scientific consideration. But Marcus had learned something in his years of hunting relics. Ancient civilizations didn't speak in metaphors by accident. They encoded truths in ways that would survive the collapse of empires. "Where light forgets to travel," he muttered, pulling up astronomical data on regions of space with unusual properties. His fingers flew across the holographic interface, cross-referencing the architect's poetry with phenomena that seemed unrelated. Dark nebulae, where stellar winds created pockets of absolute emptiness, gravitational lenses that bent light away from certain regions, the debris fields of ancient supernovae where radiation interference created sensor dead zones. Then he saw it, a footnote in a survey report from 200 years ago. A stellar phenomenon in the Krath expanse, a binary system where the gravitational dance of 2 neutron stars created a region of space that sensors simply skipped over. Not because of interference, but because of relativistic effects that made the space temporally disjointed from normal spacetime, a place where light forgot to travel. Marcus plotted a course immediately. Though the Krath expanse was considered navigational hell, most species avoided it entirely. But as Marcus guided the Persistence through the twisting gravitational currents, he felt something he'd learned to trust, that peculiar human sensation at the back of his neck that said he was close. His instruments went haywire as he approached the temporal anomaly between the neutron stars. Sensors showed nothing. Cameras captured only distorted streaks. But Marcus didn't need instruments. He closed his eyes and let his ship drift, feeling the subtle tugs of gravity, the way his inner ear registered the impossible angles of warped spacetime. Then he opened his eyes and flew by pure intuition. Later, Silthar would demand to know how Marcus navigated through conditions that would have destroyed or lost any other ship. Marcus would simply shrug and say, "I followed my gut." But in that moment, threading through space-time that folded back on itself. Marcus was doing something uniquely human. He was pattern matching with a brain evolved to track prey across changing landscapes, to read minute environmental cues, to make impossible leaps of intuition that computational minds dismissed as random chance. And then, emerging from the temporal distortion like a ghost materializing from fog, he saw it. The Eternity's whisper hung in perfect silence, its hull a masterwork of architect engineering that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously. The ship was massive, easily 5 kilometers long, and completely intact despite 5 million years of drift. Marcus let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. Gotcha. When Marcus returned to Station Prometheus with complete navigational data and preliminary scans of the Eternity's whisper, the Guild erupted in celebration. Species from across the galaxy gathered to witness the impossible achievement. In his private office, Silthar poured 2 glasses of Centauri brandy, a human custom he'd adopted over the years. "You promised to tell me," the Guildmaster said. "How do you do it? How do you find what others cannot?" Marcus took his glass and considered the question carefully. "You want the truth? Humans are persistence hunters. Back on Earth, before we had technology, we hunted prey by tracking them for days, sometimes weeks. We didn't need to be faster or stronger. We just needed to never give up and to read patterns that others couldn't see." He sipped his brandy. "Every species in the galaxy is smarter than us in some way. Better sensors, faster calculations, longer lifespans to search with. But we've got something else. Millions of years of evolution that taught us to see connections others miss. To trust instincts over data when data fails, and to keep going when every logical calculation says to quit." Silthar's mandibles clicked in understanding. "You hunt relics the way your ancestors hunted prey." "Exactly," Marcus smiled. "And the galaxy is full of prey that's been running for a very, very long time." Outside the window, the stars gleamed with infinite possibility, and infinite relics waiting to be found by the human who refused to stop hunting.